It's the Las Vegas Sportsline.
And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline. I'm Dave Cokin. Teddy covers. Ted Savransky is here. Patrick Everson is here from Covers.com. Ari Platinum is behind the console. Got a full hour of good stuff coming up, guys. And it's like 40 degrees in the studio. Why is it so cold? What? I know they pay the heating bill around here. Why is the studio so cold? Or am I just getting old?
A little bit of both.
Okay. All right. I know it's a lot of one side. Okay.
It is nippy in here, but it's a beautiful day outside, finally.
It is, and it's not so beautiful inside. Okay, well, anyway, we'll heat things up with some good conversation about what's going on, and where do I want to take this for? Oh, I see what I've done. I've got the wrong sheet in front of me. I'm looking at Marco's podcast outline and going, what the hell is that? So let's talk about the Bulls. Let's start with the Bulls because... You know, you used to see a lot of upsets.
Chalky.
Ooh, 6-0 favorites, 5-1 against the spread, Teddy.
Well, 6-0 against the opener, you know.
Yes.
Because Georgia
That's
State,
right.
Georgia State got bet up. That was pick 'em minus, they were like -1 at most places that opened. They closed 3 and landed 2. So if you bet them at the opener, you've done very well with the favorites so far. And last night, really no contest.
So, Patrick, in your conversations with sportsbook guys around town, is that impacting the market moving forward with the public basically making money so far backing these favorites?
They're sitting tight for right now. Had a discussion with Jeff Stoneback of MGM Books this morning about it, and what he pointed out is it's certainly something that they're going to keep their eyes on, but he's glad it happened in the first 6 games of the bowl game season rather than the middle to late next week when you start getting into these games that have really eye-opening matchups that the public is much more interested in. And there'll be a lot more money rolling into those games. So he's like, look, I'll take 5-1 when 5 of those games were on the first Saturday of bowl season. That said, it is still something, you know, they're certainly paying attention to it, and they understand that it could lead the public to just continue to back chalk for the moment, which, so again, but he feels pretty confident that this is something that's going to even out in due time. And I brought it up with John Murray, too, the director over at the Superbook. And he said, "Hey, we're not overreacting at this point. We're staying the course, and we'll see what happens." They think these things are going to even out over the next week and a half.
Yeah,
or so.
I'm not anticipating it's going to be like 34-6 to the favorites in the Bulls.
No, I'll take the under 34. I'm in trouble. But we are seeing, and I think some of this is a game that we'll break down later in the show on the marquee matchup. But I in terms of Ohio and San Diego State tonight, I really think that at least some of the money that we've seen on San Diego State in that ballgame has to do with how good the Mountain West has looked in the first 2 bowl games.
Oh, I would agree with that.
So even though the favorite dog thing isn't making moves on the market, people are definitely paying attention to what conferences have looked good and which ones haven't. ATS and obviously the Mountain West, with the 2 best teams having already played. I don't know. I guess Boise is one of them, but 2 of the 3 best teams have already played.
I think you could. Well, yeah, it's
but
certainly 2 of the top 3. Certainly,
yeah, certainly Utah State and Fresno look pretty good and won and covered with you know. I mean, it wasn't easy for Fresno, but they got there. And Utah State was pretty easy.
It should have been easier for Fresno than it was had it not been for that goofy play where they fumbled the ball out of the end zone on what would have been a touchdown. I think they'd have slaughtered Arizona State because they killed them in the second half.
Sure.
All right. Anyway, we will look at the marquee matchup tonight, the Frisco Bowl between Ohio University and San Diego State. That will be later on. Right now, we'll concentrate on the basketball as we take a look at the Wednesday MJ Christensen 4 at 4.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Put them 4s up. Put the 4s up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sports Lines 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
MJ's holiday sale continues. Look, I mean, you're running out of time. You better get this done. And they're open late. Okay, you can shop longer. You can save up to 60% on select designers throughout the store. Bling in the holidays the right way with MJ Christensen. Head over to the store in Boca Park. Check them out online. Check them out at Facebook. Find that special item for that special someone in your life. Or if you don't know what to get them, then go to the store and ask for some help. because it's not one of those chains, okay, where, they're just going to sell you what they need to sell. They will take care of you the right way at MJ Christensen Diamonds in Boca Park. So we go to some basketball tonight, and we've got the Pacers, who are hot right now, Teddy, heading into Toronto to face a Raptors team that is a little bit short-handed tonight from what I'm seeing. But will that make a big difference? Because in the NBA, everybody's short-handed every night.
Sure. There are significant injury concerns on the Toronto side of the equation. Half their lineup is banged up. Kyle Lowry is not going to play tonight, but his backup, Fred VanVleet, is expected to play this evening, as is Danny Green, as is Pascal Siakam. Serge Ibaka is not going to play this evening either for Toronto. Indiana got caught looking ahead last night to this matchup and got nipped 1-point loss to Cleveland. All that being said, I love the way this Pacers team is playing defense right now. They really are, and Toronto covered a bunch of numbers early. They've not been moneymakers for their backers in recent weeks, although, the best bet here might be on the under. I think this is more likely to be a defensive scrum than a up and down the floor basketball showcase. What's
the market doing on this game, Patrick, with the injuries on the Toronto side?
Well, we'll pick up on Teddy's point in the under first. That number has come down at the Superbook from 211 down to 209.5. This opened -7.5, Raptors -7.5, but obviously the injuries you pointed out, Kyle Lowry not playing tonight, that's dropped it down to 5. But I was talking about this with Eric Osterman over there at the Superbook. He said really hasn't seen too much money on the side, but really it's just the money on the under at this point.
Well, they'll see money on the side in this game because the Warriors are playing, and they're at Utah to face the Jazz. And when the Warriors are playing, people bet the Warriors, especially when the number's shorter on the road, as is the case tonight. So is it the usual inundation of Golden State action?
Yeah, I think so. It's this is going to get more as we get closer to tip-off, obviously. But what Eric did say was actually the line has actually dipped a point, oddly, but I think it's going to go. It's Warriors -2 right now, open at -3. I think it was a little bit of actually what Eric said was they did take a bet on Golden State earlier at -3. He did not get the best of the number, so Eric is assuming that is not sharp money, but they did move on it. But he said right now we're still going to need the Jazz, even though they made that move, and I'm sure that's going to grow over the course of the next few hours.
I don't like this Utah team. When you talk about major disappointments in the NBA this season, Utah is the number one team to come to mind. People are saying the Rockets. The Rockets are at least playing better over the last week or so. I haven't seen Utah flip that switch. I haven't seen it on the defensive end. I certainly haven't seen it on the offensive end. And I understand. They're in the Western Conference right now at the bottom of the standings. It's Phoenix and then Utah.
Yeah.
Which, speaks to the parity in the West. It's going to be a heck of a playoff chase. But
that's going to be a good race.
Yeah, the Warriors have kind of found their way of late, and I'm in no rush to step in front of them in this price range against one of the biggest disappointments in the NBA.
College basketball, UCLA and Cincinnati is one of the better games on tap tonight. The Bruins, coming off a loss to Belmont, they shot 12 for 28 from the foul line in that game. What are you doing? 12 for 28 from the foul line. To me, honestly, it's a lack of focus when you shoot 12 for 28 from the foul line. Foul shots aren't that tough to make. And UCLA ends up losing the game by 2 or 3 points. And they lost it themselves. Belmont didn't beat them. They beat themselves. So the line's high in this game. But if you're looking at it from strictly a value standpoint, you say, you got to take UCLA here. Because game power rate's lower than this. But I don't know. I just don't know that this team has the mental capacity to stay with a gritty and well-coached Cincinnati team on the road. Honestly, I didn't play the game. I think I'd play Cincinnati here.
I could only play Cincinnati in this game, and it's really, to me, it's not even a debate. If I'm playing, I'm laying. Because let's not forget, UCLA, they were tested. They played North Carolina and then Michigan State over Thanksgiving.
Those tests.
They failed them both. Those are their only 2 games away from home all year. This is their first true road game of the season. And there's one thing that Cincinnati does every single year. You can count on it like clockwork. This team plays defense. And I don't know that UCLA is necessarily ready for the type of physical defense that Bearcats going to bring to the table. And, by the way, they're going to catch Cincy a little bit upset. They did not play well against Mississippi State when they lost to them over the weekend.
So when I saw this line, it's like, there's got to be UCLA money. That was 9. And it went to 9. I think it opened 8, went to 9. Has it done anything since then?
It's at the Superbook, opened 8, got to 9, back to 8.5 now. Eric said all square money on this one. They did see some money on UCLA right when they opened up this morning, Eric said. And again, they were as high as 9. Also some money on the over, which is, or I'm sorry, I think that's on the under, I think is what Eric meant to say there. He texted me a note on this, but they're 133.5 on the total. Some money on the under, I should say. And after an opening of 135.5. But again, he said it's all square money on this game at this point.
On which side?
And I think UCLA going from 8 to UCLA wouldn't go from 8 to 9 in that case. So that's Cincy from 8 to 9. I apologize, I got my notes in a little disarray here today. But yeah, some square money on this one. Like I said, he said as high as 9. That person who could have gotten 8.5 bet it at 9. So anyway, that's where they're at the Super Pick on this one.
All right.
Apologies, that was a little sloppy there.
NHL.
We've all been there, man. It's live radio.
Yeah.
Here we go. Rivalry time in the NHL. Penguins and Capitals. These are big games. Whenever they meet, it's a big game. Pittsburgh, sketchy on the road, sketchy goaltending. Did win the first meeting against the Capitals. Washington has been playing well lately. I didn't play it. I took a look at the Capitals in this game. It's tough laying a price in this series because these teams really have a dislike for each other. And strange things happen when they get together. But Washington is simply better than Pittsburgh at this point. Patrick, what's going on as far as the betting market on this one? This is a national TV game, so it will get more than the usual NHL amount of action.
Yeah, Eric expects this game to get played pretty well at the Superbook. They opened the Capitals minus 135 last night, minus 130 right now. He said they have seen some parlay money on the Caps too, but not that much money yet as far as just the straight money line play. He expects a lot more closer to game time because this is a pretty marquee matchup for hockey tonight.
All right. I think Washington wins, but I was unwilling to bet it.
Yeah, I mean, in this rivalry, you just can't. And certainly, if you look at the track record of the Penguins knocking off the Caps,
boy.
Didn't happen last year. So now what is it?
No.
It's a playoff revenge?
I don't know. I mean, maybe Washington finally got the chip off its shoulder against this team because they've had so many problems with the Penguins over the years. I give Washington an edge, but it's just, to me, if it's $1.20, I'm probably taking it. $1.35 in that range, nah, I'll pass. That's your 4 at 4. Let's spend some time on the Bulls, and we'll look at the market and maybe drop in some analysis in these games. We'll skip tonight's game because we're going to save that for the marquee matchup, so we'll start with the Marshall, South Florida game that's played tomorrow. We have football every day now until, I think, New Year's.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is good stuff. And Marshall, coming out of a bad game to finish their season, but a forgivable bad game as they had it literally added to the schedule late. Had Virginia Tech not beaten Virginia, this game, the Marshall-Virginia Tech game, would not have been played. Virginia Tech did beat Virginia, and therefore that made them possibly eligible to get a bowl bid. So the game had some meaning to the Hokies, and they went out and played the football game, and Virginia Tech smashed Marshall in the game. I kind of tossed that out. I think the Thundering Herd just wasn't prepared to play in that football game. They are the favorite here against the South Florida team that once upon a time was 7-0 and then got exposed as maybe the worst 7-0 team ever. I mean, they just were a complete fraud, and they haven't won since, Teddy. I think Marshall. I think the game's priced about right. We'll see what the market's doing, but I can't make a case for the dog here. It'd be favored of nothing, and I don't want to lay the points.
No, and we knew USF was fraudulent from the get-go.
Yeah.
And then when you look, again, it's a 5-game losing streak going into both teams. This team hasn't beaten anyone since they beat UConn back on October 20th. And, oh, by the way, you remember how bad UConn was? Right?
Yeah.
They were as bad as any team. Their defense was as bad as any defense in NCAA history. South Florida was laying 32.5 in that game. They won by 8.
No, they had trouble with UMass.
Yeah.
Had it not been for a couple of UMass special teams mistakes, that game would have been a lot closer.
Yeah, that was a fun game. That was an over that I enjoyed very much. But
I actually lost that game. I had Mass plus the points.
I'm sorry.
And still think I should have won it.
You guys have incredible memories on this stuff, It's impressive.
It's, when you...
And I get it.
Yeah, but I can't remember what happened 2 minutes ago.
Exactly. What I had for lunch, I have no idea. But, I mean, I'm not thrilled about the concept of laying with Marshall, but if I'm playing, I'm laying. I don't want the dog.
What's the market doing?
This opened 1.5 at the Superbook. Marshall -1.5 went to 2.5.